I say to this day, and I do it based on my reaction. Obviously, this is personal. I say it's the greatest knockout of all time. First time I ever stood up, I couldn't sit down. I was standing up. I was just like,
I saw that. I saw you stand up. That's the first time I see
it was just.
In the last 6 rounds with AJ, in my opinion, he won 4 of them. People will argue that he at least won 3.
But when you take care of me forever and ever.
When Anthony Joshua finally delivered the crushing 6th-round knockout that ended Jake Paul's run in their highly anticipated heavyweight clash, Joe Rogan's live reaction perfectly reflected the seismic impact of the moment on the combat sports world. Rogan, who had repeatedly warned about Joshua's devastating one-punch power and the danger Paul was facing, did not hold back when the decisive shot landed, instantly framing it not merely as a fight-ending blow, but as a moment that could be remembered as one of the most brutal and unforgettable knockouts in boxing history.
Come full steam ahead 100 miles an hour, or Jake would have moved around the ring at 100 miles an hour. There's 2 things I would have done. Tried to shut Jake down at 100 miles an hour, or I would have gone on the back foot. So Jake decided to move around the ring, and
Bout, officially billed as Judgment Day, was contested over a scheduled 8 3-minute rounds in the heavyweight division, with Anthony Joshua entering as the clear favorite due to his elite experience and significant size advantage. Standing 6 feet 6 inches tall and weighing around 243 pounds compared to Jake Paul's 216 pounds, Joshua gradually asserted himself after a cautious start, taking control in the later rounds. He dropped Paul multiple times in the 5th before ending the fight with a devastating 6th-round knockout at 131, landing a crushing right hand that sent Paul to the canvas and prompted the referee to halt the contest.
Joshua Paul was sturdy for the first couple of rounds, but as the fight went on, the more experienced Joshua began to take control. After continuously connecting in the 5th round, it was only a matter of time before it was over. In the 6th, Joshua went on to knock out Paul with a big right hand. Joshua improved his career record to 29-4 now. Paul loses for the 2nd time in his career.
Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul became one of the most talked about fights of the year, not only because of the personalities involved, but also because it sharply highlighted the contrast between traditional heavyweight boxing and the social media-driven influencer era.
Come on, bro. He's a fucking legend for that. He has such big balls getting in the ring with that guy, dude. Joshua's a monster. He stayed in it the whole time, and I'm really proud of Jake, dude. All my respect to him, bro. Whatever outcome. I mean, dude, he went 6.5 rounds with Anthony Joshua. He's one of the best in the world, so I got nothing but respect.
And got up like 2 times?
No, it was sick.
Talk about that. I mean, there's been other heavyweights that have felt that right hand who haven't got up.
Nagano, so many people, bro. The overhand right. Jake's got a tough chin, dude. I think he does whatever he wants after this. He just has such big balls, dude. He had to keep moving. That was the only strategy. People are going to say he ran around the ring. They don't know. They don't understand fucking boxing.
He showed a ton of heart, right? What's next for Jake Paul?
Joshua, the former 2-time unified heavyweight champion, entered the matchup as a massive favorite. Paul, a YouTuber-turned boxer, had leveraged his platform to draw a huge audience to the sport despite criticism from boxing purists about his credentials. Still, very few genuinely believed he had a realistic chance against elite heavyweight power.
Some people believe in fairy tales. Whoever believed that Jake Paul was going to win, that was an absolute fairy tale. I've got a friend in a group message that said, I just put $20 on Jake Paul to win. I was like, bro, you just wasted your money. There was never a world in which Jake Paul was going to beat Anthony Joshua. It was always a matter of how the fight would end. So I watched all the pundits talking about the fight. Even Rosendo, my boxing coach, I was like, does Anthony Joshua represent boxing? Everybody from that world felt like Anthony Joshua was representing boxing. And as the fight started to go on, first off, he was representing boxing, so they wanted him to get the job done. All right, first and foremost. You can't lose to a guy that's perceived to be a YouTuber, even though today, Jake Paul is more boxer than YouTuber. I've said this time and time again. When you have resources, when you can spend $1 million a year on training camps, housing, food, coaches, this is not recreational anymore. He's a boxer. He's just not a boxer at that level. I ran into his brother in New York City, and I said to Logan, what parameters are in place, Logan? What safeguards do they have to make sure that Anthony Joshua doesn't hurt your brother? He said there are none. He goes, they're going to just straight fight. So in that regard, you gotta give credit.
After the fight, Anthony Joshua was honest and reflective about his performance, explaining that while he finished the job with a 6th-round knockout, he did not feel it was his best showing and believed he could have done much better. Joshua admitted he needed to improve, noting that he struggled early to land clean shots and was unable to corner Jake Paul as quickly as many had expected, describing it as a win but not a success and emphasizing that he still has plenty of room to grow.
A lot of things, 100%. In the fight game, you've seen the amazing fighters that have graced us over the last 100 years, and the expectations that we put on ourselves are immense, but I tried my best. Jake done well while it lasted, but if you remember what I said in the interview with Cameron is, fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you is that, Jake, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna see a time when I'm gonna take your soul and your...
Joshua made a point of acknowledging Jake Paul's heart and resilience in the ring, stating that even though he ultimately secured the 6th-round finish, Paul showed genuine spirit by repeatedly getting back to his feet after being knocked down and continuing to compete against a far more experienced former world champion. Joshua added that not many fighters would have been willing to step in against someone of his caliber, and that Paul's determination to keep pushing, even in the toughest moments, deserved respect.
AJ's won 6 rounds, he kind of dismantled him, he took his time. How do you see it?
Yeah, it was a frustrating 2-3 rounds maybe, because Jake was moving so much, holding, but did well, I thought. I mean, I was impressed with him. I mean, I was more impressed with his toughness, because I think that last shot would have knocked out most heavyweights. I mean,
He broke his jaw.
Yeah, I know, it knocked him out, but he was not unconscious. You know, I mean, look, he may not come back from, if he has broken his jaw, it's a big injury to come back from.
Well, there's pictures of him in hospital right now.
Well, listen, you've got to respect him, because he did what many people wouldn't do, which was get in the ring with him. And, you know, he didn't, I know he run and hold, but he also let his hands go at times. And he was in the firing line, and, you know, we got 6 good rounds in the end of actual work.
Is that how you see it in the end?
Yeah, I actually think it's a positive, because, you know, we could have gone in there and got it all over with 45 seconds. He's done an 8-week camp, and now he's done 6 rounds. He's got some...
Paul suffered a broken jaw during his 6th-round knockout loss after Anthony Joshua landed a powerful right hand that ended the fight. Blooded around the mouth, Paul said in his post-fight interview that he believed his jaw was broken, a concern that was later confirmed to be true.
Well, what's your reaction to it?
I'm just so proud of him. My mom has it.
Your brother fought his ass off, man.
Yeah,
I mean, other heavyweights have taken that right hand and only took 1.
I'm just so proud of him. That was incredible. In my view, that was a victory on all fronts.
Right.
Like, minus the actual victory, obviously, of course, but bro, like, no one expected him to last 6 rounds with AJ. In my opinion, he won 4 of them. People argue that he at least won 3. No one expected him to last that long. Rolled his ankle, broke his jaw, still fucking fighting, man. Like, that's toughness. You know, most people wouldn't have the balls ever to step in a boxing ring in their life. He stepped in a boxing ring with one of the baddest men on the planet, who's 40 pounds heavier than him and 6 inches taller. That's insane. He's one of the most skilled fighters on the planet. My brother, as a fucking YouTuber, went 6 rounds with him in a fight with a broken jaw and rolled ankle. I'm so proud of him. That was just unbelievable.
I saw you talking crap to AJ at one point.
I was trying to get his head. I think I pissed him off. I was just saying fuck shit. I love AJ.
Yeah.
But bro,
I saw you going down the fight game.
I was talking so much.
Jake leaned into his trademark bravado with a defiant post, sharing a screenshot of his x-ray that revealed a double broken jaw. Paul wrote, "Double broken jaw. Give me Canelo in 10 days. Medical scans later confirmed that his jaw had been fractured in 2 places, commonly referred to as a double broken jaw. He even drove himself to the hospital after the fight for treatment, with doctors estimating a recovery period of roughly 4 to 6 weeks, while Paul continued to post images and updates on social media confirming the injury and thanking fans for their support.
Nikisa, just down here, Jeffrey from The Sun. Just to follow up on Jake, he said he broke his jaw in the aftermath. Has he gone to hospital? What's the health update on Jake?
Yeah, we think he broke his jaw. He's fine. We met with Netflix afterwards. He took a shower. He drove himself to the hospital. A broken jaw is very common in sports, particularly in boxing or MMA. And I think the recovery time from the doctors and surgeons we've already talked to.
Nikisa Badarian praised Paul's heart, durability, and strategic approach, noting that Jake had performed remarkably well against one of the most feared punchers in heavyweight boxing and may even have won a few of the early rounds. However, he stressed that the main reason for Paul's loss was not a lack of boxing skill, but the considerable size and weight difference between the two fighters. Joshua's heavier frame and strength consistently drained Paul's energy and allowed the former champion to land powerful shots that ultimately caused the knockout. Badarian emphasized that Joshua's physical dominance was a key factor in wearing Paul down, highlighting that Paul's overall performance still deserved respect despite the defeat.
And ultimately, Jake Paul lasted a lot longer than anyone said he was going to. And I haven't seen the official scorecards. I don't know if anyone else has, but I think he might have won a round or two or even three. He was doing tremendously well in there against a person who is vastly more skilled, vastly larger, vastly more powerful. And he did it on 4 weeks preparation.
What would you like to see next for Jake?
I'd like him to take a beat, relax, and then think about when he's gonna fight next. You know, we talked about June, July timeframe. He loves this sport. He loves MVP. He loves the athletes. He loves giving them platform and push. This young lady right here, the whole time when I was talking to her, I said, what do you think? She goes, Jake's gonna win. I believe in him. He can do whatever he wants to do. That's the kind of family that we're building at MVP. It's a fighter-first organization. You guys saw our weigh-in yesterday. That stuff costs a lot of money, but we want to put on the best brand for these fighters to show.
Some fighters recognize Jake Paul's resilience for stepping into the ring with a former heavyweight champion and lasting until the 6th round, particularly given the size and experience gap. They noted that Paul displayed heart and determination, even though he ultimately lost by knockout. Eddie Hearn acknowledged Paul's effort, albeit in a more measured tone, emphasizing that while Paul showed toughness, the outcome was never in doubt. Hearn pointed out that no one realistically expected Paul to endure long against a fighter of Anthony Joshua's caliber, and making it to the 6th round was more a testament to his durability than technical skill. He suggested that Paul's performance underscored the gap between social media crossover fighters and elite professionals, highlighting that while lasting multiple rounds was noteworthy, it did not change the fact that Joshua's experience and power ultimately controlled the fight.
And you've got a guy that's just running around the ring, and you know, you can say you've got to cut him off, but when they're moving at that kind of speed and they're holding up close, but his clinching was quite good, Jake. Like, yeah, listen, you know, I'm not saying he's going to go and win a world title, but he just fought Anthony Joshua and went 5 and a bit rounds. So, you know, respect to him, and it was good to get some rounds in, to be honest with you. He's got a new team. If it would have gone 45 seconds, maybe people would have been more impressed, but we wouldn't really have got any ring time. So we've got that, and now it's a case of when we're at next.
You described Jake as average a few years ago. What's your assessment of him now?
Decent. If you listen to what I said in the build-up, I said he used to be average, now I think he's decent. And the same. I think he's like a top 50 cruiserweight in the world. Top 50, top 60 cruiserweight in the world. So, yeah, and look, you know, like I said, I hope he's okay. 4-0 to Matchroom over MVP. We're friends.
After the fight, Ryan Garcia weighed in on social media with a blunt and provocative reaction that drew significant attention within the boxing community. Garcia tweeted that while he respected Paul's effort, he also made a sharp comparison to Gervonta Davis, another high-profile boxer. In his post, Garcia wrote, "I think Gervonta would have done him wise," suggesting that Davis could have hit Paul harder or ended the fight even more decisively than Joshua did. Many experts echoed Garcia's sentiment, arguing that this matchup did not represent elite boxing. Even after the bout, criticism persisted, with some observers contending that the Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul fight should never have taken place.
Carried out of this fight on a stretcher, you know, certainly I guess you can say is a positive. But what did I think about this? What did I think about Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Look, it felt like Anthony Joshua carried him. It felt like Jake Paul brought in as much of a negative anti-style as possible, circling away, constantly holding Joshua, constantly falling to the ground. Again, while you're certainly going to give respect for the YouTube star turned fighter for having the guts to put on this type of show and to stand in there for as long as he did until a clean right hand in the corner when Paul was absolutely exhausted, dropped him and ended the fight. This is not elite boxing, and we knew that coming in, but if these fights are going to be sanctioned as official fights, like the Mike Tyson fight from last year, like this one, how much longer is the appetite for the fan going to be there when this is such a bad look overall for the sweet science, the sport of boxing, which, cannot get out of its way anyway?
Critics have highlighted that the size, experience, and skill gap between a former heavyweight world champion and a social media influencer turned boxer was too vast, making the fight feel more like a spectacle than a genuine sporting contest. Many argue that matching Paul against a fighter with Olympic pedigree and real heavyweight power created serious safety risks, as evidenced by his broken jaw and multiple knockdowns.
Himself in there tonight, letting Jake take him 6 rounds.
It's ridiculous. Anybody that saying that doesn't know anything about boxing. First off, if you see how Jake was moving and clinching the first 3-4 rounds of that fight, you would understand. It doesn't matter how bad you are. If a fighter in front of you is destined to not get hit and not get knocked out, it's almost impossible to knock that guy out. When Jake was okay with exchanging and trying, even he was exhausted, he said, I'm going to try, that's when AJ was there to land the shots. AJ did what he was supposed to do. Not easy to knock a guy out that's surviving, you know that.
Yeah, I do. I wondered early on whether he didn't have a lot of adrenaline and he was walking Jake down. Jake was making himself small and moving away. And AJ said, you know what, I'm going to take my time here and marinate you.
Exactly. Listen, when a guy that's moving like Jake, that's inexperienced, you're going to gas out. I knew it for after half the first round. If Jake keeps moving like that, he's going to gas out in 2-3 rounds. And I noticed that AJ said, okay, I'm going to let him run around. Right? People are screaming, cut the ring off. Let me let him run around.
Experts argue that such crossover events undermine the integrity of professional boxing, prioritizing entertainment and pay-per-view revenue over genuine competition, and that the bout was driven more by hype than by athletic merit.
It now, we've seen that novelty. Should a fight like that between an Olympic champion, a heavyweight world champion, against a relative novice, should that be sanctioned and licensed by a commission? It was a one-off. Jake's a one-off, but we shouldn't be seeing a lot of these events, in my view.
Never again. We should never have that gap of experience,
the mismatch,
skill set should never happen again. I mean, to your point, Jake is an anomaly, right? Like, we can let him get that off. He tried it, and he even landed a couple of shots. But you saw at first, as soon as he landed first right hand, even he saw, I can't hurt this guy. I'm not going to.
It was a pebble hitting a tank, is how I've described it.
Great description. So I think it's, in some sense, we needed to have this in order for it not to happen again. To get it out of our system. Right. In order for it not to happen again. And look, let's not ignore that there were other fighters on the card who were watched, who were seen from places all around the world. So it served its purpose, and kudos to Netflix for allowing it to happen.
Yeah, Baumgardner was very good. Alicia Baumgardner defending her belts. Caroline Dubois was very good. She signaled herself to the American market, as you mentioned. So at least they benefit from it as well tonight, which will continue to happen with MVP and Netflix.
And that's what Jake and Nikisa, that's their agenda, right? Of course, it's Jake, but Jake has all of that in mind. Who can I showcase on this event? He did it for Amanda Serrano. She's made millions. He's starting to look, Dubois, she looked great. I want to see her again. Me personally, I became a fan of her.